All, I want to thank you very much for having come to be with us this morning. On the day we are going to discuss issues which we have developed ourselves as civil society organizations, and issues which we want to pass on to the government so that government may develop a peace policy or peace building and conflict resolution policy for the good of our nation, Uganda. And as you know, Uganda, we have passed through tough history, and all of us have in one way or another suffered in this history, and we know where we are now, that we need a national peace policy. This is a fact. We need a national peace policy. So what is needed in order to get this national peace policy? That everyone must be involved. Every citizen of Uganda must participate actively to make sure that this peace policy is in place. And we need a peace policy because we need to regulate or to know how to deal with one another in case a conflict comes up. And as you know, we are coming towards the elections. 2016 is not far. So we want that all our politicians, all Ugandans must know that we need peace during campaigns, we need peace during elections, we need peace after elections. We don't want to see any violence, we don't want to see any conflict come up, because as Ugandans we need to grow. And as you know, without peace, really we can't develop. Without peace, we can't work. Without peace, we can't make a research. But where there is peace, people are free to make research because they have resources. People are able to work and produce enough, and the country, that's how it can develop. So what do we need from our government? First of all, we want to thank our government for having put the country at peace and security. There is a security which can help us work together and develop what we want to develop. But particularly now, we want the government to know that we want to work with them. We want to work with the government to develop this peace policy. So every civil society organization, every citizen, every Ugandan has a responsibility to work towards this peace policy. And also we call upon our development partners and donors that support civil society organizations in order to be able to develop this peace policy with the government. And we call upon each and every Ugandan and our neighbors too, support in this process. Peace policy is needed, and each one of us, each one of you, every Ugandan has a role to play to make sure that this peace policy comes into play, comes into action. So thank you very much for coming, and we appreciate that you as media go and let
of government. And that's why it was put in the office of the Prime Minister to champion this process of development of the peace policy. And cognizant of our social structures, the Prime Minister's office started working with other players, key players, and amongst the key players are the civil society organizations, because they interact with the bigger community, the bigger citizens of this country. And consultations were made at the grassroots levels, at regional levels, and in a discussion with the peace forum that was in place, the platform, we came up with the first issue paper, which was discussed. Issues were pointed out. From there, again, other consultations were made, and came up with the second issues papers, which we are having now. This is the second issues paper which we are having now, championed by Government of the Republic of Uganda, in collaboration with both international and national non-government organizations. And now today, why we are here, out of this document, that's where the civil society organizations which have come up here are going to debate this paper, so that now they bring out what should, what they feel that should not be there, put in what they feel should be put in. That is going to be representative of the people's voices of this country. And that's the purpose of that is to make sure that this peace policy is owned by all, because civil societies are the agents of the civil society down there. Government players have been consulted, and when they own it up, then we shall push to another level, where we shall now be able to push to other actors at higher level to see that now they can be able to translate these issues paper into a policy, which will be discussed by the various government organs, by cabinet, parliament, and later be enacted as a policy for this country, from which other legislations will come out from here. And so I hope that now, after this one, we shall have other statutes, other regulations to direct the process of peace in this country as enshrined in our national constitution. Because Article 8A says Uganda shall be governed based on national interests and common good. And common good means everybody, regardless of ideologies, regardless of nationalities, name it. And also other acts in the constitution state the issue very clearly about peace, that all Ugandans need peace, and peace that will cause us to move ahead. Good enough, as you have heard from the executive director, we are now moving into another big democratic event. That's 2016. What are our aspirations as Ugandans? We want peaceful elections where everybody plays his politics in accordance with common good, common interests. And those are the areas that now we hope that the peace policy are going to direct all political players. So that when you contravene these legislations, which have been agreed by all Ugandans, then sanctions will have to handle you. And then we shall move to another stage through the process of democratization of this country.